You know, Jess and I have been together since, we've been dating or best friends since she was 15 and I was 16. So literally half our life.
I remember he was like the first boy I ever had a crush on. And knew I was like, I'm gonna marry that guy. And he didn't like me because I was the younger sister. And then he finally saw the light. I'm actually the only person he's ever dated.
Ryan and Jessica, you are the real deal. You are the true love story. You're an inspiration for what love should be. And thank you for showing that to all in our community and to me and my husband.
My name is Ryan Woods. I have a glioblastoma tumor in my spine. The doctors say I have 1 to 4 months to live. I think it might be longer.
I know we always refer to it as our cancer, but
Our doctors,
our
cancer.
doctors are this, are that, yeah.
We're in this together. We have very few memories or experiences that aren't shared. So the idea of her doing any part of life without me, or me without her, is literally unimaginable because we've always done life together. It's weird. Andy Jane, you wanna help me mix?
You want to come in and show me how you eat breakfast?
This is like my
Excellent. All right, school we go.
I did that.
This is ridiculously shocking. We have no cancer history whatsoever in my family. The type of cancer I have is incredibly rare anyways. I'm young, healthy, I bike ride a lot, we walk everywhere up until I got cancer, was skinny and scrawny, in a healthy way. It's like we do everything you're supposed to do to be healthy and to not be sick and to not have cancer.
So he had surgery exactly a year ago today. When he came out of surgery, he was paralyzed from the waist down. And in December, he got really sick. That was when I was like, oh, I think my husband's dying. And it was just this huge awakening of, I think I need to start working, holding this reality. It might not happen, but at least being willing to go there.
I would much rather be the person dying than the people who are living, who are left behind. I think I have it easy. I'm not scared of dying whatsoever. I get to be reminded and remind other people that death isn't anything, Death is just another part of our story, and it's a terrible. Death is terrible, but it's not something to be feared,
Really, even though our story's hard and our story has lots of pieces that are messy and tragic, just really tragic, I think there's just so many things that are beautiful, and there's so many things that are life-giving and not just about death. And the way people have interacted with us, and the way that people have loved us, and the way that we've grown through this,
So tonight they're gonna have a roast and toast of. So what they're gonna do is everyone's gonna come together, all our friends and family and stuff, and they're gonna tell stories. And they're gonna tell stories that are funny for the roast, and they're gonna tell stories that are serious and nice for the toast.
We don't know how to do what. I don't know how to do Dad. I don't know when I'm talking to falsetto.
I will be positive to a fault. And actually, the thing is, I actually really believe it. Not artificially positive, but I see the world through rose-colored glasses.
Ryan would occasionally come over and say, hey, that was the extent of our relationship, but he's kind of like a fungus. He kind of grows on you, and, in kind of a good way, that maybe like a parasite. Maybe that's a better term.
It's kind of like a tumor growth or something.
You can phrase it that way.
One thing that my daughter constantly reminds me of, anytime that she starts to be sad or I'm sad about leaving her, she always reminds me, she's like, "Oh, but Daddy, we're only gonna be separate for a little while." She said, "Well, okay, maybe it'll be a long time because I've got a long life to live." She's like, "I need to learn how to drive. I need to get married."
So I think what we've decided, he's doing birthday cards for several years.
So they'll get a birthday card at every birthday.
And then like a present when they're 16. And then he's just having a binder that he's putting stories and memories of them. Like, what was it like when I was born? Things about him as a child, just lots of memories and stories. And we're just gonna have a binder for each of them.
Just gonna give it to them, and then they can access it as they want, So they're in control of how much they want to remember Dad and when they want to remember Dad, and I don't have many memories of when I was 4 years old, and so to think of my 4-year-old daughter and what she will or won't remember of me is a scary thought. To think that I, in a lot of ways, will be a shadow in her memory. Because they know how hard this is for you guys, huh? To have your daddy be sick and to have your daddy dying, they know how hard it is, and so they want to do a special party just for the kids.
I hope it's a summer vacation.
It will be. I would just invite anyone who watches this video to live into this reality that we're all dying. It's a cliche statement, but if you're the one, I'm actually dying, so I can say that. I can say cliche statements, right? We're all in the process of dying. So the question is, what kind of story are we going to live out as we're dying? I would just invite people to live out a beautiful story, to live out their life, make beautiful music, regardless of what kind of brokenness they have to deal with. And on our journey toward death, which is inevitable, we have the opportunity to let a beautiful story be told. And I think it's up to us to allow that story to become something beautiful. And I hope that I get really embarrassed, when, if I don't die in 1 to 4 months, and, you guys did all these things because I'm dying, and then I don't die. That'd be awesome. I would love to feel awkward because of that.
Bye, Dad.
See you in a second. So that's where we're at. So you guys, those who are watching the video right now, are kind of getting to sit with us in that place of anticipating death, and
Well, it's that whole idea that, for us this whole time, we follow a God who's big enough to cure things like cancer and to heal people from things like this, and but our reality that we feel like you have to hope in reality and hope in what God has promised. And neither of us really believe that God has ever promised complete healing for our physical bodies. And if he does, that's amazing and wonderful, and we think he can do that, but he hasn't. That's not one of the things he's promised. And
we believe God has promised that he can heal you, but he hasn't promised that he will. Each one of us is going to die at some point. So at some point, God's going to let you go. And what he has promised is that we don't need to have fear in death. He has promised we have victory over death. Not avoidance of death, which is what we hold on to, that we want healing because we want to avoid death. No, the hope of Christianity, the hope in Jesus, our hope is in victory over death. And that's what we cling on to.
Well, and I also think that, some of the ways that God promises life is not just life after death, but I think that God, he's the God of, beautiful things, and he is the God of life, and he's the God of story. So I think for us, it's allowing God to not trying to shut God out of our story, but allow him to actually work through it and to take and to be the orchestrator of that, and to pull beautiful things out of it. Not that he wants people to be sick, and not that he wants bad things to happen, or that he's does bad things so we can learn. I think that what happens is we live in a broken world, and that God is the God of beauty. And so he says, well, this is broken, but watch what I can do out of it, and watch how I'm going to make this beautiful. And I think that is something that's one promise that we've clung to this entire time, is that while he may not have physical healing all the way, God does beautiful things, and that's what he's in the business of doing,
Yeah, so for everyone out there in the virtual world, none of you, I believe none of you, if you're honest with yourself and with life, question the brokenness of life, that life is just broken and messed up. As we look around, either in our own lives, we see it, or if we look around in the lives of others, it's like we see that there's just something broken in life, and we grieve that, and we need to be willing to engage in that and recognize it for what it is, that there is hell on earth, that when you see sickness, when you see cancer, when you see divorce, when you see abuse, when you see addiction, we recognize that hell on earth is a reality, and it's a very tangible reality. But what Jess is saying is, and what we want to extend to you, is that what God has promised is that he can work through that, is that he has promised to raise up beauty from ashes. He has promised to be a God that transforms and restores and creates a beautiful story in the midst of that brokenness. That he doesn't necessarily promise to get rid of the brokenness, but if you allow him to enter into your story, to enter into your brokenness, he is willing to tell a beautiful story through that, and because of that, and despite that. But it takes, this is the weird thing of the word is incarnation, of Jesus choosing to come and become human and become a part of our world and enter into the messiness of our world, is that it's partnership, that it takes you being willing to say, God, I want to let you, I want to invite you, I want to receive your invitation to partner with me, or let me partner with you in the telling of my story. And so the question is, are you guys going to be willing, are we all willing to let God enter into our stories and to transform our stories into something beautiful, something transformational, something life-changing, something inspirational? And we feel like that's where God is taking us, that my story at this point, our story is a story of death, and that sucks. And it makes me mad, and it's ridiculous, and it's stupid, and I shouldn't be dying.
And it wasn't what we anticipated.
No.
You know, when we said, oh, we want to follow you, we want to do, you know, we want your story to be told, God. We didn't think this is the story that he would pick for us. Not that he picked it, or...
And I think we could tell a better story if he would let us pick the end. Like, I really do.
That, right? You know, but I think it's that, you know, we have faith and we hope and we know that his story is so much bigger than we can ever know or ever do or ever even come up with, imagine on our own. And so I think that whether or not we like what the story's doing, it's like we still said, God, we want you to tell your story, and we want you, we want him to be completely in charge of it. And,
we want it to be his story.
And so it's not what we imagined signing up for, but we're still sticking with it, and we're still,
We didn't sign. I didn't know this is what I signed up for, but my hope and my trust is in God, and God alone, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So good luck living out your story. I don't know if good luck is the right way to say it. I hope God invites you into a story that's not as dramatic. But if he does invite you
drama's not good.
But if he does invite you into a story, you can know that your story is going to lead to death. God constantly invites us to death to self in a spiritual, emotional, practical way. But we also know that our story, functionally, we all are dying. I know that's a little bit cliche, but since I'm actually dying, I can say that. We're all dying. The question is, what story are you going to let God tell in your death? So, peace be with you.